Hello and welcome back to Haven and Hearth. So, it is currently the first day of the fourth month of the 10th year. Let's pop outside. Oh, look, it's raining. Yes, I saw this already. So, we have just a lot of stuff to do. I mean, ultimately, that's what it boils down to, is there is just a bunch of stuff to be done. Oh, hey, look, there's a, over here. That'll be useful for when I need to try and tame another cow, which I will hopefully get to at some point before the series ends. I kind of keep putting it off because I don't feel ready for it just by my stats, but it is something that needs to be done. Anyway, as I was saying, we need to do a bunch of stuff, and I figure might as well go ahead and give the impression of what level that gets to. Now, as you can see, I did take care of all the lambs and stuff in between. We now just should have some of the best sheep left if I go inspect. Alright, yeah, quality 50. Alright, quality 70. And quality 65. So that should be fine. The meat quantities are low, the qualities are kind of mid, but actually, yeah, the quantities are really low there, but that's fine. That's fine. Shouldn't be a big issue. But that is all nice and set to go again. Of course, our single lonely cow is still sitting there single and lonely. There was one other thing I wanted to get to before we kind of get into it. You can kind of see, if you look close. Oh, maybe not. I thought, from seeing it from far away, I thought that our mounds here had reverted again, which I still think they might have. Regardless, being the first day of the fourth month means that if I were to refresh them now, they would die just as winter started. So even if it turns out they do need to be refreshed, I'm gonna wait the month to do it. That way it'll, fade on the first day of spring instead of the first day of winter. That way it poses lower risk to the crops. It actually would probably be a good idea to give it a couple of days past that even. But we do have some crops that need tending to. I could do the barley, but I just really don't feel like it at the moment. I do want to get these carrots done, however. Just because we have such a small amount, and we do need to try and bring them up in quality as quickly as possible. Now, if I were doing it as absolutely quickly as possible, I wouldn't be waiting for them to turn into carrots. I would do it when they were in their seed phase. But we do need to have some carrots on the go. Oh, which also reminds me, I had stuff in the oven that I just haven't started cooking yet. So I'll have to do that at some point. It looks like it's some of the poultry pot pies that we had made, and the marrow cakes. I never got around to baking them. I did, however, get around to baking a bunch more of those toy chariots, so those are ready to go. So, speaking of curiosities, some of the stuff we need to process is we need to process all of this harvested flax into, more usable forms, i.e., actual, factual fabric. We don't need to do all of it. All of it is, excessive, seeing as I am going to want to use some for, what's it called? As string. I'm going to click craft all for this. It should be... I should end up with 4 left over, I think, because one of those stacks was not quite full. But we'll go ahead, we'll do this. As you can see, I have some fabric here that is the hemp. But we're not going to stop at fabric on this one, because I am also out of the bouquets as curiosities, which is why I led into this part with the speaking of curiosities. So we'll process this into some fabric. We will then process that fabric and additional flax and some of the flowers into bouquets so that they can start giving me more of ye old learning points. Speaking of, let's increase our survival 10, because I don't quite have enough to do it by an extra 10. Because I think it's, yeah, see, that's fine. That I'm off by less than 1,000. So the next time something actually, like, completes, I will probably have enough. Yeah, I think everything here would give me enough. Yeah. So we'll reset that for the moment. But getting survival to 80 makes me a lot more comfortable with the idea of upgrading my axe. The problem is I really need my int to go up too. You can't quite see it there, but it's 40 something, 47. All right. So I want to get that. I'd like to get it into the 60s, I think, before I become more comfortable upgrading my axe. Because as it is, that's just going to drag things way down. And of course, we still primarily need strength, because we're still ultimately trying to get a hard metal. And mining down on level 2 is just too much of a pain without having more strength. Alright, we are most of the way through the flax that I picked up. Obviously, there is still a bit of ways to go. Let's see, that'll be that, that'll be that. Yeah, oh no, maybe we'll end up with one left. Yeah, we'll end up with one left in our inventory. That's fine. Let's see, that is 3s, 3, 6, 9, 12. We'll get one more. 16, so that'll be 17. Yeah, alright. 17 fabric. Which, if I then go over and look at our bouquet, we need 2 per. Double 17 is, let's see, 34. You know what? We'll just grab that. And then I can put stuff back afterwards. This is a wonderful plan. I'm proud to be a part of it. Alright, let's just start opening up some of these and hit craft all. Now, obviously, space might become an issue, but I think we'll be alright. Yeah, look at it go. Alright, let's get one of those to study. We have wiped out a pile and most of another pile. Let's go ahead and do that again. Alright, there we go. That was used up all that fabric, which means we got 17. 16 of them should still be in the inventory, because obviously I started the study process on 1. 13 of those left, and there's still like 4 stacks beyond that. Like I said, we've really needed to do some of this processing for a bit. And that's not even getting into the 4 stacks of hemp fiber, 5 stacks of hemp fiber over here that can be used to supplement that if necessary. I already processed some of that too into the fabric, and that's what that stack in the other house was. Let's get these into the table for the most part. Just kind of do that. There we go. I'll move you up there. Make that a little bit better. Move you guys. I guess move you. Alright. We could use more straw dolls. We could use more other things. But ultimately, We are just gonna need to start moving on. Oh, we have another straw doll there that I didn't have in a table. Probably because I ran out of room, I would assume. What else? What else? What else? We're looking for some of the specific things that still need to be processed. Let's put the straw doll in. Actually, we'll do that. There we go. Alright, well, the other house has something that I know needs to be processed. A whole bunch of animals. Well, before we do that, let's go downstairs, check on the animals as is, because we're probably going to end up with more animal carcasses to process on top of what we already have. So let's see what we got. Yep. Oh yeah, those are going to need it. Alright. Let's start by moving some of these chicks. Oop. Not exactly what I wanted. There we go. Fortunately, as long as you do it quickly enough, you can move the eggs around some. Here we go. Alright. Okay, let's see what we need to move first. 23 is our lowest there. 27 is the cock. Ooh, hey, you know what? There we go. Let's swap out for a 30 there. Our 27s are a little useless here. I'll put the 28 in as a backup. Not that I ever really need it. We're just going to do this for the moment. We will worry about exactly what to do about the rest of that later. You know what? We'll just do that with the rest of these guys too. Might as well. There we go. At the very least, that many. Let's get these chicks in here once I pull out a couple of these. There we go. Alright, let's see. What are my highest quality here? 29, 29, 27s. Alright. What do we got? Alright, well, 29 at the top. Let's put our... Yeah, we can do that. Because I think we're going to end up pushing out... Oh, no, we'll only end up pushing out most of the 24s. There we go. Oh, no. I did have a 25, so we did end up pushing out all of them. Okay, there we go. Excellent, excellent. Now, you know what? We'll go ahead and put them here for the interim. We're hopefully going to process this all today. This one is the one that we don't really need a whole lot of space in for live animals. So with a little luck, that'll all get processed. All right, let's just check our food levels and water levels. They're acceptable. Hello, bunny rabbit. Hello, other bunny rabbits. That's a 22. That might be needed. Nope, 24. Although, we'll take the 22 and we'll replace the 20 with the 22 as the backup. We will do here exactly the same thing, I think. We will store some of our ones we don't need. Right down there. You could use more food, but it's only one. So he's going to eat real slow compared to the others. Alright, 22 and some 20s. We do have a few more buns. There we go. Alright. What do we got? 22 and some 20s. Well, we'll keep the 20 that was already in there. And add that one. There we go. Alright. I'm not going to bother this because I'm going to start with these. So we're going to do this. We will grab the 4 of them. Let me check those. Yeah, that's okay. Those levels are acceptable. They'll be alright for a few days. Next time I do a major harvest, I will probably go and refill those. Do kind of need to... still playing a little bit of catch-up from basically leaving things unattended for like a week. Alright, let's do this. We're going to also go and grab some additionals out of the other building here. Oh, how's our tree doing? By the by, green apple tree, 93% grown. It has been a slow grower. It's a good thing we're not going for wood out of it. Alright, so let's see. Rabbit, 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 rabbit. Do I grab one more? Yeah. So I should be able to come over to where we have raw hides. So we got to process these carcass. Is that the right term? Carcass. So carcass. That sounds right. I mean, it doesn't sound right, but the rationale sounds right. Alright, yep, that's the fresh. So I should just be able to go flay and have it go straight into the stockpile because there's no room in the inventory. Good, good. There we go. Alright, now something similar should happen here. The problem being is that these are also now going to give me brains. Those will probably drop on the floor. Yeah, you can see on the floor there. But that's okay. If we do this quick, we'll be able to get them back. Alright, and then I should be able to go... Oh, you know what? That was a mistake because that one was full. Alright, let's butcher up real quick. Butcher, 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 butcher. Alright. Let's go ahead and grab these. And these. Alright, so let's see. That should be 4, 8, 12. Yeah, 12 is right. 12 is right. Okay, I got them all. Now, you should go into this pile. We should be able to... Is this full? No. So we should be able to just take these, put them in this pile. Excellent. Unfortunately, there is no pile for meat or brains. Brains, however... we'll just kind of study that one, and rest of the brains go in there. They are not a great curiosity, but I'm getting them basically for free. Alright, now we just have a bunch of meat we need to worry about. Well, that can go back into the cupboards. It's not a permanent solution, but it's what we've got. Because they will honestly take up more space if I were to cook them into food than just keeping them as the meat they are. So, alright. Boop, 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 boop. There is another rabbit there. And there's a bunch more rabbits there. Alright. Since we just showed that part, I will process the remaining rabbits and be back in a moment. Alright. All of the rabbits are now processed. I am going to grab some of the fox meat. And did I have any additional fox meat elsewhere? Yes, I did. Alright, there we go. That's 11. Just a quick check to make sure I wasn't hiding anywhere else. Nope, most of that is ye old mutton. Alright. And we're going to go ahead and make some of that running rabbit. So let's just get this processed into sausages. Good old running rabbit. There we are. Alright, craft all. And this will take a minute, but it still fits our theme of processing today since we're taking the meat and processing it into a finished product. This will still leave us with rabbit meat to go put away, but at the very least, the running rabbit has a decent amount of int on it. Well, I guess I will be right back since an error has occurred and I need to restart the game. We'll be right back. Alright, I have gotten the game up and running again. Let's reopen our inventory there and get back to what we were doing. Food, sausages, running rabbit. Right, craft all. Anyway, as I was saying, there is a decent amount of int on the running rabbit sausage. However, it is primarily agility. But the way things have been going with the food lately, it would not surprise me if I got a bunch of intelligence things off of these. Just because I seem to keep getting a bunch of the secondaries instead of the thing I'm actually going for. Although, the fact that I would like the int off of this probably means I'll just get agility. Although I think we have plenty of room to go with agility here, right? How's our hunger doing? Back down to 31. Agility is 54. So we got room to spare on that before it becomes an issue. And agility is one of our combat stats as well. It determines like how well we dodge incoming attacks. So having a higher agility is not a bad thing to have either. Especially since at some point I am going to want to tame one of those other cows. Well, preferably a bull, but you know what I mean. Alright, what do we got as far as room on here? We got plenty of room on here. Let's see how much of this we can shove in there. It looks like all of it. Okay, good. Good. Alright, let's go put the rest of this rabbit away, and then it's time to start processing the chickens. There is just so much to do. I should really harvest that barley too, but kind of sticking to the processing thing. I could say, oh, I need to process it into food for the rabbits or something, but whatever. I'm not that big on it. All right, so should I grab the ones from here or should I grab the ones from the basement first? You know what? I am here, so how about I grab these guys first? And we're basically going to be doing the same thing. There's a whole bunch more in that cupboard, too. I think I have more chickens to process than I did rabbits. I think the chickens go a little bit quicker if I'm not pulling the eggs out. I should probably start pulling eggs out more often, because eggs I can turn into omelets, which will give me dexterity. Which, while not useful for making the tools, is useful for making just about everything else. Alright, we have our feather piles here. That one doesn't have a whole lot, but we can start a-plucking. And fortunately, we should have a little bit less of a mess. Alright, I'm going to need to do a new pile. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. I think if I shift this way where I can see where I want to put the next pile, and I do this... Oh, no, it ends up on the ground. Right. Okay, so let me pick that up and put the next pile... There. Okay, good. Good. Alright, and then I can just keep going. Just keep plucking. So as I was saying, fortunately, we're going to run into less issue with the chickens because they process down slightly different. They reduce in size when you clean them. So if I do this and go clean... Alright, now it did drop the first brain because it didn't count the spaces clear yet, but there we go. I pick it up right into that spot, reopen this, and now everything should... Why did you do that instead of going into the stockpile? Oh, because there's room in my inventory now. Okay. That's okay. We can just clean all of these. Come on. Fighting the menus here. And then now that we're done, we can just take that and be like, I'll go in there. There we go. I am out of space for these tiny brains, though. I have completely filled the table. And started putting stuff in there. Where else can I shove a few things? Here we go. We'll do that. There we are. All right. Now, we are into the deboning process. Although we don't really want to do that, have it attached to that with the chickens, because there's a good chance we'll get some wishbones. So we will just start processing stuff down. Now watch us get no wishbones, because I said that we might. No wishbones. Okay, well, we can just put all these away then. Is slightly easier. We end up with less meat because each chicken only gives us 1 meat, whereas each rabbit gives us 2. But it is a decent amount. Alright, I am going to process down the rest of the chickens, and we'll see what more needs to be done after that. Alright, I have just finished processing the last of the chickens. I did end up getting a few wishbones out of it, and I got one going into my research. So that's going now. Beyond that, I've got way too many of these tiny brains. Fortunately, they don't take too long. They're 10 hours, so we're going through about 6 or 7 of them in a day, like a real life day. So, because, 3 times real speed. So we'll go through them fairly quick. It's just a matter of trying to get so many of them into the table at once, along with other more useful things. They do make bigger study desks now. That was something that was added in relatively recently, but I haven't really looked at how to do it yet. Let's go put the last of this chicken meat away. I could process some stuff into the chicken chorizo, like I was saying, but we don't really need a whole lot of perception or dex at the moment, and those are the two bigger stats on that. We could get some will off of it, but again, we're not really shooting for that at the moment. So, and I think perception's already pretty up there. Yeah, perception is already... Well, no, the base value is actually still relatively low. So we have some room for it, but considering it's not going to give us any of the stats we really want, better to save it for other mixed foods that, will give us something we actually do want. Anyway, we now have all kinds of these animal products, and there's a few that could do with a bit further processing. Now, if I had additional logs around, just basic low-level logs, not these ones that are the higher level things, I would end up taking a bunch and processing a bunch of these feathers into feather dusters. My curiosity table is full at the moment, though, so my study desk. So I'm not too worried about that. That can be done once some room is freed up. Theoretically, I can also take some of the onions and garlic and stuff and turn it into onion braids. Again, my curiosity table is full, and while I could do things manually to speed things up, I'm not in that much of a rush. My attributes are the thing that are behind right now, less than, more so than my skills. What I do need, however, is with all of the sausage we've been making, there are only a dozen intestines left. We've really just been getting them from the sheep, and they've only give us 1 or 2 at a time. And then I go and make a big batch of sausage, and they're mostly gone. So what I'm going to do instead is, since I'm starting to overflow with the entrails again, I'm going to go ahead and make ourselves some stitched casings. That'll use up a fair amount of the entrails. Let's do a dozen. Just double the amount of casings we have available. See where that puts us? Yeah, there's a full stack right there. So let's just go ahead and process some of these guys into the stitched casings. Oh good, they do stack. And because the hemp fibers I'm using are much higher quality than the entrails, it's dragging the end product up. Which is good, because that means that the sausages will be higher quality too. Now, I think that's still lower quality than the intestines I'm getting, but it's fine. Alright, there we go. Just got a few of these guys there. They stack just fine like that. We've got double the amount now, so we can make more sausages as we need. Alright, what, if anything else, can we manage to process in what little time we actually don't have remaining because I'm past the time? I am past the actual amount of time I normally do allot to these episodes. That's okay, I'm thinking about it, and I can't really think of anything else other than, like, farming some stuff. So I think we are pretty good for the episode. I am a little disappointed that I didn't get enough to get my survival to 80, but that will happen soon. We are going to need to get these oven going. I'll probably do that between episodes if I remember. We should probably get some more cheese going. Oh, I don't really have much in there. That's probably why I wasn't. There's a bunch more little stuff I need to do, but I will just kind of keep on keeping on, and maybe next episode we'll get our strength higher. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? But that is going to do it for this episode. So, until next time, have a good one.